Shares in Australian Strategic Materials, though, are rocketing higher after US-based Energy Fuels made a full takeover bid worth $447 million. Now, let's get to our first interview of the session then, with that in mind, and a very warm welcome into the program. We've got Rowena Smith, who is the MD and CEO of Australian Strategic Materials. Rowena, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Just tell us, what are the details, the finer details of today's announcements?
Well, we're very excited about this because this is an opportunity for us to integrate with Energy Fuels to be able, with our combined assets, to provide a near-term Western end-to-end supply chain, mine all the way through to metals and alloys for these critical rare earth materials. We can be a champion of that for the industry because we will be able to leverage the established capability that we each have to be able to do that very rapidly. Energy Fuels have offered a deal that is in consideration a combination of a special dividend, cash dividend of 13 cents, but then importantly a fixed ratio offer of scrip, either in shares or SIDS, which when we valued it as of Friday was the equivalent of $1.47. So the implied value as of Friday was $1.60. But it is a fixed ratio, that component of the consideration. So, as their share price increases, the value that comes to the ASM shareholders also increases. So actually, effective from this morning, the implied value of this deal is actually closer to $1.98.
So you must be pleased. I know that the board has recommended that shareholders do accept this scheme. Rowena, you've been working a long time. We've spoken with you over the past few years about what you were trying to achieve with Australia's strategic materials. So is this the culmination of your hard work? Did you see this coming?
Absolutely. The strategy has been to develop an integrated mine to metals business. That's been our strategy all along. And I have been saying ever since I came into role now 4 years ago that, my view is that the only way that we're going to successfully establish a sustainable end-to-end supply chain rapidly is to work in partnership. We have to leverage the capabilities of the various different businesses that already know how to do steps along this supply chain. We have to work across jurisdictional boundaries to be able to leverage country strengths, and we need to be able to leverage across partners of different sizes and able to access better funding solutions. So that's what we've got here with Energy Fuels. Energy Fuels have got 40 years experience operating a solvent extraction plant where they process uranium in the States. And that is the same technology that we need for doing the separation of the rare earths. They've already developed that capability, diversified their offering in their facility in Utah to be able to do the rare earth separations. We've already got a plant that can take the oxides from that facility and turn it into the metals and alloys that are needed for then the permanent magnet producers. We've got that established in Korea, and we're already well advanced in looking at how we would replicate that facility in the States. And in fact, Utah is one of the states that we've been doing detailed due diligence on now for a number of months. So those two are very synergistic. But what they've also got is a really interesting growth pipeline of monazite ore bodies that could be the initial feed, and that combined with our Dubbo project in New South Wales, these are a very strong pipeline of raw materials that will be able to feed that facility in Utah and then go on to support the growth of our metals businesses.
So who or what is Energy Fuels? If you can just give us a little bit of context. I understand they're US listed and listed in Canada on the TSX. So it's my understanding they're planning to potentially establish a secondary listing in Australia?
No, well, not that I'm aware. I think what we will see is that they will continue with their TSX and New York listings. So who they are in the US, the only uranium producer for the US. They are a very well established miner and operator of those facilities in the US with a very strong balance sheet. Their market cap, when I last looked, was about 5 billion US, so obviously much higher than ours, and have got that deep operational capability already established there. They have got very strong access to funding, so they've already got very strong funding pipeline in place. And they are developing projects, one of which is in Australia in a joint venture with Astron, the Donald project, which again is a very exciting near-term raw material for the rare earths going into that Utah facility. They have got very strong government connections because their products, the uranium products, already go into government offtake arrangements. And they have been developing this diversification into rare earths for some time. So again, very advanced in discussions with the off-takers and with government in the US.
So mine to metal and alloy, it's the realization, I suppose, of a great ambition. So what should ASM shareholders be doing now, Rowena?
Well, we're really excited for our shareholders because we've got a lot of people who've been very loyal and very enrolled in our vision. And what we're offering here is an opportunity to continue on that journey, but to continue on it in a much stronger vehicle. So, if shareholders want to stay with us, this will convert, most of the value of this offer will convert into Energy Fuels shares and will continue to allow them to participate in the upside that we still have a very strong belief in as we expand the metallisation and alloying and as we commit to the development of the Dubbo project. But it also gives them exposure to the growth pipeline that Energy Fuels have also been developing. So we will be working on the scheme booklet. We have to go through a FIRB approval process, which we're obviously hopeful that will be supported. This is, we believe, in the absolute sweet spot of the US and Australia Critical Minerals Framework Agreement. So we're hoping to see support, but we are expecting that to take a few months. So we'll prepare the scheme booklet with a lot of the detail of how the mechanisms will work in parallel with doing those regulatory approvals. And we're preparing to take this to shareholder vote, hopefully, in May, June of this year.
And Rowena, did that strategic framework between the United States and Australia, do you think it helped grease the wheels? Did it make this more attractive for Energy Fuels?
There's no doubt that the collaborative discussions that are going on at government level is an enabler for companies to have a much more collaborative series of discussions. I think in the last 12 months, since Liberation Day, since the retaliatory restrictions that the Chinese imposed, we have seen the industry recognise that we need to be more collaborative than we have historically, and people have been actively looking for partnerships. We at ASM have been looking to make sure that any partnership we had was one with a partner of substance. And so, that's why we're so excited to be making this announcement today.
Well, congratulations, Rowena Smith, Managing Director, CEO of Australian Strategic Materials. May I ask what happens to you next?
Well, needless to say, I'm very busy at the moment delivering this and very enrolled in making sure that this is a successful transition. So, time will tell what comes next for me, but at the moment, my focus is all about delivering this for the shareholders, but also for the teams who are very excited about this opportunity.